All right, we're live.
Hello,
Hello. So, welcome to DevKami, episode number 59, 159. My name is Swimming.
and I am Tristan.
So, where's Shi Liang? He's a bit sick. He's probably still sick, so let's not worry about him. I mean, we should worry about him, but you should be fine. So, what's happened recently?
Nothing happens.
Really?
Omicron is still happening, I guess.
Okay.
But
Obviously, Log4j not taking you down, huh?
no.
Okay. Because we're not Java developers, so yeah. All right, actually, that's just a stalling tactic because I didn't open all the tab. And the reason why I didn't open all the tab is because I forget to. I kind of come home a bit late. Nah, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. So, what's the event that we have? Next week, the most important one is Christmas, which is on Saturday, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So this week we have Tech Up, number 9. So on December. Then I think that's about it. That's until Sunday. Then after that we will have nothing happening because it's Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So do I take a break on Christmas or you just what not? I don't know. We decide later. So let's start with the first thing. Log4j Framework had a RCE. It's pretty big, and Log4j is the logging framework for Java developers, and Java actually runs a lot of application around the world. Think about your
Mm-hmm.
Elasticsearch, your Solar, your what else? Your banking application, your Android application. I do not know whether this will affect your Android. Very
So I
likely.
guess that it depends if the application uses Log4j. I'm not sure if Log4j is even required because I'm sure Android framework has its own logging framework, right? Like you don't
Yeah,
log your application on text files, basically, on log files on an
but
Android device.
yes, but just know this: Log4j actually is very flexible. They are, they are, they exist because it helps. It's actually very okay. So I don't know for sure, but it's very widely used. So I would say likely since it's the default. It's actually the default for many. So yeah, it's pretty big deal actually. It's very big deal. So your infrastructure has to have it and all that. So Log4j, I hope there's patches out already. Update as much as you can. If you run legacy application, my condolences, but so this is what it is lah. So next one, Microstudio. Microstudio is actually a free game engine, 2D game engine. Interesting because they have their own script, but they also support other languages, which I forget where it is. Da-da-da. It's JavaScript like, of course, but there's support Python somewhere, but I forgot where it is being shown. And they also support multiple. Here you are. They support Lua, JavaScript, and Python. So, and it's free. So you want to make some 2D games? Well, try it out. Have you tried this, or this is also new to
No.
you?
Well,
Okay.
if we had some like show notes, it would be nice
What?
to open them up.
Link
But
this, right? Yes, it's my fault. I will do it.
mm,
You know what? I may actually do it just because of this. Next one. Calibration simulation. This is important. Yes, another reason why we should have a show notes. So this is actually a set of test images. No, this is not test. Okay, this is test images, but this simulates. This uses GFF renderer to actually simulate color color blindness, but it's a bit calibration deficiency, right? So yes. So this simulation is for you to do this. And you can use this to actually simulate what your users see. So yes, until recently it's actually very hard, but recently there's papers and your web browser can actually simulate this pretty deeply. So yeah, is there other tools for other browser, or this only for Firefox? You know?
I haven't heard of any.
Okay. So this is new to me. I think I only know this on Firefox. So
Mm.
next one, Redesign Notepad. I tried it. It looks Notepad but modern.
Mm-hmm.
Even have dark mode. Okay.
That,
Here's the thing,
does
lah.
it? Well, the question there
Uh-huh.
is, does it fix the UTF? Sorry, the line endings, the Unix file endings. Like if you open
I
a
don't
Unix
know.
file, does it keep on the runs?
I don't know. I didn't test it, to be honest. You know what? I should find out. To be honest, because uh, here's why Windows
Well,
Notepad is actually my first IDE, so I have soft spot for it. But I need to find out, to be honest.
mm,
I don't
really,
know
is it
for
Notepad? My first
yeah.
IDE was edit.com.
Okay, I tried QBasic. It didn't work out. So that one and also QBasic is very well hidden, to be honest. So Notepad update Windows 11. So I did not actually start with edit.com. In fact, I start edit.com a bit later. I start HTML first actually, and many people, many early developers. I try to find out is there information for it. Da-da-da. Oh, okay. I in a way I do start with Notepad in a way that's how you create website in the early days. Of course, there's front page and all that, but the HTML generator is a bit horrible. So that's where
Mm.
I learned to write. I learned to write HTML and all that. I write code in structure. So it's pretty. I know I have soft spot for it. I mean, it's not as I grow as a developer. I don't use that much anymore. But yeah, this is my first IDE. So okay, I do not actually know because a lot of focus seems to be on visual aspect. I suspect that might be simply because of compatibility reason, as in they might support a line ending, and the reason is because WSL exists, and the only person that use Notepad tend to be people that will experiment in WSL. So maybe, but I do. It's not stated. It's not stated in. It's not stated in here, to be honest. So I don't know. Hey, Chi Leong, you're here. Healthy? And he's gone. Okay, it's not my imagination, by the way. So, oh yeah, Notepad, new redesign, more UX. I do not know what else, but things might be interesting. Next one. This is a bit more obscure. A bit more obscure because if you are a data visualization geek, you will know him. So Professor Leland Wilkinson, he's actually a software developer for SPSS. Then later he will create his own software. What important for him is he actually created the language to do data visualization. So the library that is important to know is actually called ggplot2. Plot2. Oh, I mean, sorry, ggplot2. ggplot2 is the charting library, and it's very powerful if you're willing to work through R, the language. And if you look at the visual, it's very powerful, but the language is a bit weird, to be honest. I hope to show you an example how does the code work. So 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 the language this person had introduced is you can develop a chart, then you add all the points and add all the individual components. So this is actually the language for data visualization if you're using statistical language package. So we're talking about language like R, SPSS, Tableau, and whatnot. So sadly, he passed away on 10 December.
Yeah, last
So
week. Yeah.
yes, he was in SPSS. He created Systat, sell to SPSS. The SPSS worked for a while. Then he left in 2008. Then he do Skytree. Then joined Tableau, etc., etc. So yes, he's a big deal in this particular corner of data visualization.
Well, not just
Oh, okay.
data visualization, it's really about statistics.
Correct.
SPSS is like even because when I was in university, you have
Yep.
College of Business Administration in one building, and on
Mm-hmm.
top of like this, the other floors above is the College of Statistics, and you'll see a lot of students when I see them going around, like books for SPSS, how to use SPSS, all of these things, like basically manuals, large, thick things. So,
Yep.
yeah, SPSS is a game changer for the statisticians.
Correct. Which is why for a long while, actuaries, your insurance company may have SPSS running behind the scene, even though they're expensive and have a lot of issue. Which is why if you go to the R conference, there is a whole community of actuarial. What do you call people that do actuary?
Actuaries.
Yeah,
Actuarials,
let me
Actuaries.
find.
actuarials,
Really?
actuarial.
I mean the
No,
person.
actuary is the business, so actuarial is the person, or actuarist, I guess. I don't know. Actuarial
Okay,
scientist.
yeah.
Actually is the
Mm,
person.
So either way,
I see.
if you join the recent R conference, you will find a lot of these folks there lah. So because R supports some of the best, even though we call it slow, but it cannot be worse than SPSS. So
Mm.
yes. So yeah, my condolences. Thanks for his creation because my first my second, my first is on D3. D3 is not the same thing for this. So yeah. Next one, Manifest V3. As usual, this is why people hate Chrome. What this does is they implement privacy sandbox. They implement the okay. So they block. This one will actually block blockers. So they will limit access to trackers and whatnot. So this from EFF. So this is actually a problem if you use ad blocks and whatnot. And this is a issue. This is the issue for a long while, which is why people have been suggesting to use other browser, which is why as much possible we should use Firefox, because here's why, right? Here's why. Uh, um, Safari had been Apple only for a long while. Uh, Microsoft have been doing some pretty ridiculous thing on Edge, and they have been trying to push Edge for a long while. Yes, they may do something, but uh, I think that's the issue with
Everybody try to push
browser by
something.
company. Correct. The least evil here is actually Firefox. They try, but they can't be. If they try to be any worse than the rest, so people will just even make them more irrelevant. But unfortunately, we don't actually have much choice lah. So yeah, uh, Manifest V3. So look it through. I will need to find a new browser. Next one. This source code for CPM, aka DOS, is in PLM. It's a system language of the day. Oh, it's download. Is there just because lah? I just put it here just because. Log4j update. Okay, so these have explanation of what is Log4j. The Log4j error. So this is actually a pretty big deal because you can actually run this. So what happened is, can somebody explain to me what happened with Log4j vulnerabilities? I'm
It's
trying to
RC.
process it.
It's
Yeah, it's remote code
RC.
execution. I know
Yeah.
that much lah, but uh, so they figure out a string to actually do RCE lah. Oh, and they also go through can attacker control LDAP server. LDAP is nasty, but
No, nasty. LDAP. LDAP.
I mean
It's
LDAP is
LDAP.
complicated lah. Yeah, it's complicated lah. It's a
Kevin, it's
complicated
just
software.
yeah. LDAP is just a key value store.
Yeah. Yeah, fine,
People make
fine.
people made it complicated.
Yeah, yes, actually it's true. So Datadog actually shows how do you prevent this and whatnot, and of course they're going to sell Datadog product, and more importantly, this is why I need to have a show notes because this is good information. Anything you want to add about Log4j again? If not, I move on.
No,
There are
it's
scanners around, so you can go around and do scanning. And if the source or the package that you're using is within the mainline, often you get a patch.
Yep.
well, that's only if you if you like regularly pull down patches, because if, for example,
Correct.
it's you hard code the version and you don't update them, then you're probably still in the same version if you're pulling down like your libraries. So it and sometimes many people don't even know that they're using Log4j, because Log4j
Yeah.
can be a dependency of a different library that they're using, so it can be
Correct.
that can be confusing.
Correct. AWS down again. This one is very short, 1.5 hours. I do not know the reason. Did I say the reason? They did not say the reason. It's connectivity between region, so it's resolved. Okay, I think we have to wait for the full postmortem, but I think what happened is their network traffic got wrong, so they do the wrong load balancing. In short. Next one is okay. So this is the 40th anniversary for DOS. Is it? Yeah. So for IBM personal computers, so this is just a story of IBM PC. Interesting part of this, IBM already knows that they need a PC. So, and like many things, they actually had a crack team of 12 engineers to build a PC. So, and yeah, and this is where Microsoft provide them with DOS by buying the rights to DOS from a company for the chip. Then they make a lot of money from there lah. So yeah, it's pretty.
DOS was one of the earliest examples of software licensing.
Yes, correct. So yeah, this is how Microsoft got very big. Really, it got very big. It started from here. I mean, they're big on BASIC those days, but with IBM pushing into the PC industry, then the market are secured, right? Because people will buy IBM, even small businesses when you can. Then what get really interesting is there's IBM clones. Then those software, the Microsoft DOS ends up in IBM clones and VKB as well. So as a result, you know, Microsoft just got bigger. IBM, people almost forgot about them. So yeah, cool story by the way. You know what? I might just create a show notes just because of all these stories. With that said, today's plan is Christmas is next week. and I know some of you guys actually celebrate and actually buy gift. If not for yourself, then okay. If not for your family members, friends, well, you may want to buy something for yourself to reward yourself for working so hard this year,
Really?
right? I mean,
I don't know.
okay lah. I like to pretend that I actually work hard. All right. I like to pretend that I actually contribute a lot. Okay. So that being said, let's choose something that we can potentially still buy, and you're actually like, I will start first. In fact, I will start with books actually.
I still got my backlog from 2019 that I haven't finished.
Uh,
I bought like 20 books in 2019, so I and every year I still buy around 10 to 15 of them, so I haven't finished all.
okay, so this is 39 books that I read. I will bring something. I will bring something over. So let's start with the book that I. Okay, so the reason why I choose books is because okay, you potentially can find it in Kinokuniya. Uh, but if not, you can.
These days I just buy from Shopee.
Yeah, you can buy from ebook, which will will deliver.
Oh, really?
You can
Physical
actually buy
books,
ebook as a gift.
if it's a common one, you can get them on Shopee.
Yeah, correct. So let's start with the first book I recommend, Project Hail Mary. Have you guys read it?
No.
No.
Okay, so Project Hail Mary is from Andy
It's
Weir.
science fiction, right?
It's a science fiction.
I don't read science
Uh,
fiction.
Okay, sorry.
I know, I read a lot of science fiction, the old school one, but not the new one.
Right, right. Okay.
And Neil
That's
Stephenson is not science fiction.
no. He mix of many things lah. He do cross
And
genre lah.
I actually stumbled upon an episode from the Writing Excuses, one of the podcasts for that started by a group of book authors.
Yep.
They say it's actually they say science fiction and fantasy are pretty close because you still have to come up with a core system. Like for
Correct.
fantasy, you need to come up with a magic system.
So goes to this book actually. It goes to this book. So Project Hail Mary is from Andy Weir. Previously known as the Martian. So the system in the Martian is something that is grounded to Earth. So everything is it's grounded on Mars, but the physics is everything that we know, meaning you need water, and also it's grounded based on the science that we know at that time. So in that universe, Mars is dry. Water is a problem, and the physics is the same. The only thing that is imaginary is the wind. The storm on Mars is not as strong as the book, but the author admitted that. If we don't do that, there's no drama. So I think he took a shortcut, and that's pretty much only, which is why it's very popular. Project Hail Mary is almost the same thing, all right, but he expanded the speculative part of the story. So the physics of the book is the same, right, as our universe.
No, I think the
uh,
sometimes the story that
Correct. So what he start to speculate is, so in the story there is a thing called the photophore. So it's a type of life form that takes energy from the sun, right? Take energy from the sun and suck it out and all that, right? And it turns out in that universe, this life form is a perfect energy exchanger, meaning with this you can build very powerful spaceship that can go close to light speed. In this case, I only do like 10%. Another part that he speculate in this story is there's alien, and he speculate a lot about the origin, the alien, how the alien communicate, how does the alien see the world. So I believe this is cool because uh, the the biology is not correct, but but the biology is not correct, but okay, it's correct up to a level, but he willing to speculate. I call that growth, and I think that's awesome. And also he willing to make the speculation, which is why science fiction called speculative fiction. So speculative fiction because they have to speculate, right? And this is one of the example of the book that you can speculate. So yeah, Project Hail Mary. That's the first one. So anything else from your list before I continue?
What list?
Anything you like that you bought this year that you think you can get through? I don't want today to be list from me only.
This year that I bought.
The Arduinos, the books.
I didn't buy
I have a.
this
I
one.
can share my Shopee. Shopee Lazada lists. Let
Yep.
me share this. How do I
Let
share
me
this?
stop my screen.
No, not slides. Share screen. Window.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the most recent one that I bought is actually this one, the full HD camera.
Ooh,
I these are probably like things. So if you have a Christmas party or like exchange gift, this is not that
Yep.
expensive. I can show you
Yep.
how it looks like. The Lenovo looks like this. So again, I'm this is I've shown this a few episodes ago. I'm using an Android camera, so it's a mod. Like you can see my mustache and the hair, specific hair strands, right? But the
Yep.
Lenovo, this is the Lenovo webcam. It's still okay. It's not that bad. The microphone is not that bad as well, but it does smooth things out. So,
Yep.
and this is because as well. This is likely
I can't see it.
because I am. You
Are
can
you
see me
sharing the
right now,
website?
right?
Right,
No,
right,
you
right.
can see me,
Okay.
right? Because
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah.
the I'm
Okay.
showing it here.
Yep.
So, and most likely because if I share the OBS, you can see that this is how it looks like. It's not that bad.
Yep.
Like the whole thing, it's very wide angle. So this is the whole thing. I'm cropping even. So if I don't crop this, for
Right.
example, sorry, filters. If I don't crop it, then this is the whole wide angle. So it's very good.
Damn.
Like so, it's
Awesome.
not that bad, and it's only 85
Cool.
ringgit. So
Yes.
so if you're looking for Christmas gifts for anyone that is under 100 ringgit, so this is good. The other one, if you have a better like budget, I got this one as well. It's still coming. They said they had no stock, and then they said it's 1 to 2 weeks. So it's a bit
Alright.
more expensive. On display studio colorimeter, just
Right.
because it's I want to calibrate my monitors here because I've been doing a lot more of front end work, and sometimes they don't, like, the clients don't actually have a graphics artist, and so I need to actually know which colors. Like I remember a few years ago when I was in a different company, I was using a really bad monitor, and the graphics artists they're all using MacBook Pros or MacBook iMacs or something. And I said, this is the same gray, but apparently it's not the same gray because my monitor just couldn't reproduce the correct gray. It's just like a subtle thing, but having a colorimeter would help a lot. And this one I'm using now as well because I am using this Windows desktop, and I also just set up another Linux desktop for programming, and then I'm just doing what do you call this, a VS Code SSH into it. So this is low
Yep.
power. This Windows has higher power, and then it's just easier as well because now I can connect to the Linux server, all of my code there. I can connect to it through a laptop, through this desktop, through anywhere else, and I could just like hand off my coding, right? And sometimes I need to actually access, like it's just easier to access the desktop itself. So I just use a KVM. So I just switch between this Windows computer and then that Linux computer. Also not very expensive. So if you're doing like Windows and Linux or Windows and Mac or something like that, and you have a keyboard and monitor setup, it's just easier to switch between the two. There is another one that will also switch your input, like your video output. But the ones that I can see that are cheap enough are are HDMI, are only HDMI 1.4. And unfortunately, I have a wide screen, so 1.4 doesn't actually switch it correctly. Like it's 1920 by 1080, whereas my monitor is like a lot wider. It's like 27 something. It's double the width basically. So
Right.
again, another one, if you are looking for like the USB 2.0, if you're only switching mice and keyboards, then this is a lot cheaper. But I prefer the 3.0. So if you're looking for Christmas gifts for people, so these are suggestions. And these ones are the ones that I bought myself. So if you're giving me a gift, don't give this to me anymore because I already have them.
Yep.
Yeah. But this one, I don't have it yet. It's still under delivery. So, and I wouldn't mind having a second one. It's also very expensive. But yeah. So those are
Fine.
stuff that I think would be useful for people. And something that you probably wouldn't. So the best kinds of gifts are the ones that the person who's receiving probably won't buy for themselves, but would really
Yes.
appreciate if you bought them, right? So like a better quality webcam would be one of the things. Like people, "Oh, I'm just going to use my 720p MacBook webcam
I'm
that
using
looks
the
really bad."
710 MacBook right now.
Yeah, so which is
That's
like
why it
not
look like shit.
yeah, it looks not good, right? And
It's
so
bad.
people will appreciate that you gave them a 1080p full HD wide angle webcam. So that would be
Yes.
something, right?
Correct.
Or like yeah, the
It's
KVM.
horrible. The color is horrible.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the next thing from me, Chilang, you still have nothing, or you can
Oh,
bought something.
I have bought a lot of things this year.
Yeah, are you
Right.
sharing your
I forgot. No, I forgot
Lazada
it.
order history?
And no, not really. I bought
No.
a new set of mic.
Mhm.
I bought I learned about passive speaker, so I learned how to fix some of the broken speaker, PC
Yep.
speaker, and also I bought myself a pretty good passive speaker.
Yep.
I bought the thing that I got into the thing that I use most is that you can see a shaver that I
Yep.
use a lot since I cannot go out to get my hair done.
Mhm.
And the
Yeah,
for books I
the shavers that has this like 1 inch gap thing is actually very useful for like just shaving everything. It's
yeah
just shaves everything.
yeah
Very convenient.
yeah very cheap as well. I actually got the ROI back. It's like 100 something only. So if I divide it by let's say 20 ringgit per trip to the barber, just mark it up as average. It's already back this year.
Yep.
So yeah, and the for books, I only read for in terms of book. I say like I don't read science fiction. Actually, it's the only book series that I read is Beacon 23. It's about a person in a space station.
Right.
So it's a monologue.
Yep.
So I think it's a 5-book series, but I got the bundle series, so I just it's ebook as one.
Right.
And I bought a lot of and I got into go back to tabletop RPG. I bought a lot of those books, not really books to
Right.
read, and
Yeah.
OSR.
Those are
OSR
game
system.
books.
Yep.
Yep.
So still
So
looking
the
for
next
more people that want to play.
cool. Next thing on my list. Next thing on my list. Okay, probably not a good one to give.
Oh,
I suggest you get something a bit lighter if you want to give this someone. 16 kilograms is too
16 kg is a bit It's very
big. But I like it in the way that I mean it give me good exercise, forms me the exercise. So yeah,
I
if you want to
think-
give
I think for people that just start, that don't exercise regularly, I think you should start with
Yeah.
something like this. Just condition everything
Correct.
like that. It
Correct.
is not that really that heavy, but something like this. So we are, I mean, just
Correct.
like warming up our muscle and get everything accustomed to work out.
Yes. So yes. So the next one is, oh wait, this is a bit fancy, but despite that, this thing doesn't connect to app and whatnot. This is just a weight, really. This is actually cool because I make me just realize the effect of what I eat versus what I gain. So yeah. So if you want to give your friend the gift of help, this is a good one to give. It's not too expensive. Then what else do I have? Oh no!
so
Now
you
you
have to
see my now you see my all the pawn that I bought online. Oh yeah, so I bought the mic system, this specific one. It doesn't work all the time. I need to find out why. But I can only tell you this: the mic mostly works well, but this thing here, the so-called USB sound card is useless. The V8 sound card is useless. The mic is reasonably okay, and the reason I bought this is because I want the arm. So, and I also MacGyvered the arm. You already know that. I bought a G clamp to clamp the table. Then I have this thing to clamp on my G clamp. So yeah,
I think you made me want to share my
yeah.
for my history.
So
Okay,
yes.
I'll show you my history, my recent purchase. Okay.
So this mic is pretty good if you can buy a phantom power. Get a phantom power, then you'll get a reasonable sound. And
yeah.
here's why. Here's why, because by default it is quite some power to actually power the mic.
Yeah. So it can be clearer.
Yeah, and a total for these two is at most 130 ringgit. So it's still cheaper than your blue. Some of the USB mic is 300 ringgit, and you still get reasonable sound for you to use on your meeting actually. So yeah, I recommend this with a phantom power, which is 50 ringgit somewhere. So do you want to show your mic?
No, no, not my. I'm not showing my mic.
Okay.
I want to show my
Okay.
purchase history. It's actually very funny. It's also a very sad story. My two
Okay.
recent purchase is the most recent one is a mothball because I got a silverfish infestation. I need to protect my clothes and my books. So apparently
Yeah.
I found out a few of all my clothes got holes in them. So I bought some of the fancy one like the cheddar ball, that the wood
Yep.
ball things lah. So
Yep.
I just cut them, and also the recent one is I bought 20 test kit because it's so cheap. COVID-19.
Yes.
So it's one is around like the saliva one is around 5 ringgit plus.
Yes.
These days.
Yes.
So just bought a bunch just in case.
Yes.
and I actually got a few of those with the nose. I don't know what's the proper word for it, but I actually use it. I tried to use it one last week before I went to the doctor because of sore throat. Is that I cannot pay myself to stick it in, so I just got a few just in case, but most of them will be the saliva test kit. Okay, that's about it.
So
why I'm on this is because my power supply for the desktop blew up. I'm on the Mac right now.
Right.
And I put it on the computer chair.
Yes. I'm trying to find because Shopee doesn't show me when I buy my stuff.
Yeah, but you have to click it.
Yeah.
While you're looking for that, I'll share my window again. Another one that I would recommend would be either an HD 681 or an HD 668B, so which is what I'm using right now, 668B. This is a balanced one. You can do a 681, the balanced one as well, which is A lot more. Well, this is out of stock. This is a flat frequency, but it does. Sorry, low frequency. Oh yeah, sorry, flat frequency. It does show the like the differences, right? It depends on what they call this. What kind of sound signature you're looking for. Well, I guess only the flat is. People don't prefer flat, but you can do your equalizer anyway. But if you just think that headphones are just headphones, you haven't probably used a really good quality headphone because it really changes the way you listen to music.
Yes.
Yeah, if I notice the impedance is pretty high also. It's 32 ohm.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can if you have a really like bad Android phone, let's say, and then you put. Well, actually, bad Android phones, you probably wouldn't. Well, it's already a good step up with a good headphone because you can hear more. But you want to pair this with a good DAC, like a digital or
Or at least
digital
amplifier.
analog converter. Yeah, or yeah, because like your Android phones probably won't be able to drive the headphones. But yeah, but this is actually on like I was surprised it's a lot cheaper.
It's a pretty.
But this is yeah, but you'll take a look at rthings.com, for example, and then 681. The reviews are actually quite good. The people are saying that it it feels very plasticky. Unlike, for example, the Sennheiser ones or like the really expensive ones, which with
Depends
metal.
on.
This is a lot
on
of
depends on what people are looking for. I think.
yeah, but it's plasticky. But what's important really is the sound, and so it really sounds really nice. It's not bassy, but of course you can equalize your music to
It's
just like have
really-
the bass, right?
It's really affordable for that price.
Yeah, for 99, it's really good. Mine is a bit more expensive because this one has the so this one has the what do you call this? The wire like connect like you can't remove the wire. It's not non-detachable, right? But mine is detachable. That's why I can put in like a USB transceiver for this. So it's more flexible that way. It's also more expensive because you have more parts basically. But for this, or if you have an HD 668B, which is also being sold, so it's like slightly more expensive, and yeah, it changes a lot. Like you can tell the difference, and it's one of the best recommendations I can give for like a
It's
Christmas
a
gift.
it's a big setup actually. The entry is pretty big setup. Then the rest are just pretty superficial.
Yeah,
But the
and I
entry is get a good I mean just a good one and a good affordable one is it makes a lot of difference.
Yes.
and if you prefer giving like in ear, I don't know which ones are actually good, but I Red Ape. But this one is 200 though, but because this is local, so I don't know. You might want to gamble with a non-trusted seller, but it's about this.
If it's affordable, I think it's okay to try. Most of them are most likely the OEM for big brands anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, but one of the things that you might want to be to have an in-ear, this one seems to be the original, like the Red Ape. So it's about 100 as well. So good for a Christmas gift. A Belon BL03. It's again, it changes the way you listen to music. It's very different. You start hearing about different sounds. So give the gift of good music this Christmas.
Yeah, and the review actually are not. You should a good earphone shouldn't be measured by the bass.
Yes. Yes.
The bad ones are the bass boosted ones.
Bass heavy, yeah. And even if you don't equalize it, right? Like they just bass heavy everything, and then you feel, oh, I can hear the tum tum tum.
Yeah, that is good.
And
Oh, no,
then it's
Yes.
that's bad for me.
Yeah.
So my other thing is, actually, I think I know where I stop. I can stop. You know what? I'm going to go back to book instead of my Shopee. instead of my Shopee list. Let's go back to book because I love books. I don't know why. I don't.
Yeah,
I have tried.
you're like silverfish, right?
Yeah. So the next book I would recommend is Math for Programmers. And here's why. Okay. Okay. So it's okay. If you're just like the normal web developer, then yes, you don't actually need this. If you want data science, yes, math is helpful. Math is helpful, and here's what I learned in this year where I joined Superhands. We do data labeling. So what happened is when we describe labels, we describe in geometry, a font geometry, and to represent geometries is in points. So, and this is actually helpful for you to understand the representation. It helps. It helps a bit. It gives context to things that people do in machine learning and why a machine learning practitioner do not store everything. They only store a label. The labels are really just points. The reason is it's just cheaper to store this way uh, because you're going to overlay anyway. You're just going to tell the point for your neural network to see what they see anyway. So in short, yeah, Math for Programmers. I recommend this to give a context. If you're just web developers, maybe you don't need that. But if you want to do advent of code, I recommend this. So yes. For Lost City, I recommend this for one reason. Cities are old, and there is a reason why city fail. Uh, Catalhoyuk is one of the earliest city in the world, and it's in Turkey. Failed very fast and all that. Pompeii, there's a volcano, you know that.
Yeah,
Angkor
that's
Wat, same thing.
not by their choice.
Yes. And of course, Cahokia in the U.S., which people forget. People forget that the U.S. actually had a pre-Columbian civilization that a lot of people forget about. This is a cool story because this book is about cool real-ish story. I recommend this because it shows about cities that you never thought about. One would thought that the best way to live in this world is city. It's true, we make money in the city, but a city is not the most resilient thing in the world.
No, it's I think it's not just for the money, it's also the networking.
Correct. The networking as in knowing the people and all that, right?
Yeah,
So
knowing
when you
people.
have city, when you live in a city, you're making more connection, you're talking more connection, and more importantly, you use a very different skill to navigate the city. So what do I mean by that? You will spend more time dealing with people. Then when the city grow bigger, meaning the bureaucracy grow bigger, as a result, you need people with more skill in data processing. So we call this cloud nowadays. Uh, so, but the thing is, city by itself don't necessarily produce food. So if anything happen, that's it. Cities depends on outside. So if you're less powerful, like those days, that's it. I think it's easier because we have trade. But if the supply disruption happens to affect food, that's it, right? So for lost cities, I recommend this to give you a different perspective of ancient cities and why cities is not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It's just know that it's not necessarily the most resilient thing on the planet. So yes. Next one is finally TinyML. Okay, here's why I recommend TinyML. This is the hottest thing on the planet. But okay, this hottest thing for me lah. Not everyone going to use it, but I personally think there is a lot of potential in this technology. Which is why one of the things that I will make sure later is actually the Arduino, what's the name? The Arduino Nano BLE33, which I put in my box already. But this book will show that. So we thought that to use machine learning, you either need specialized chip or specialized hardware. You need your phone. You need your phone with specialized processor to speed things up. They are not wrong. They are all not wrong at all, because the model that phone do is reasonably complex. Now, recently, TinyML community have begun to work on images. So we were talking about processing photos, things that traditionally require very powerful subprocessors. I mean, it used to be GPU, then nowadays is
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a question.
chip.
Along the line,
Yeah.
if people think machine learning requires specialized hardware, does dynamic programming consider machine learning?
So when I say machine learning here, I'm talking about neural network. I'm not talking about linear regression. You can literally do linear regression on an 8-bit computer. Okay, probably not that, simply because you might want to use something with floating point numbers. But you get the idea, right? There is ways for you to do that, right? So you're just going to do linear programming. Linear programming maybe, okay, probably want to use something more than an 8-bit microcontroller for that, but most of the microcontroller nowadays is 32 bits, right? You can probably do it on a PC in 1991. You probably do not need that. And so in a way, linear regression is machine learning system. But you want to talk about a neural network. So when people talk about special hardware for machine learning, we're talking about specialized chip component.
I think it can be. I would say they are accelerators to make.
Correct. So what the TinyML community does is, it's true that some of this hardware may have an accelerator on it, but what shows is that you just need to optimize your machine. You just need to optimize your instruction and optimize the way you do calculation and produce a set library. So this is why I'm very interested in TinyML, and the hardware to do this is only cheaper and cheaper. The NRF54 is something that I've been hyped for a while, and they can run TinyML. And it's $5. It's $5, 20 ringgit, and it's reasonably powerful. And it can already do quite a lot of stuff. And when I said those things, not necessarily process image, you're talking about identifying birds, wake you up when there's a rat out eating your rice. I don't know. Sound is pretty common use case. Know what I mean? So things that do actually make sense for machine learning, like identifying weird sound in the pipe, listening to your heartbeat, etc. So this is why I'm excited about TinyML, and this is the book that introduced it. But unfortunately, this book is getting old very fast, to be honest, because more tools available, and more hardware is available. And they only dedicated one chapter on image, whereas image is one of the hot thing in the TinyML community. Not everywhere, but TinyML community. So let me show you quickly. Hexter. Oh no, you see all my stuff. Just kidding. Actually, everybody know what I see. I won't show you all the dirty stuff that I actually see.
Don't make it sound wrong.
Edge impulse. Oh, sorry, edge impulse. This is the important one. Is it edge impulse or I need? So okay, Bellina is a bit of a hack, but and more importantly, because this thing can run on very hardware that is very limited, meaning they do not necessarily have hardware accelerator. For neural network, but except all. Yes, you sell me everything. I'm actually, I just want to prove a point here. Actually, as you can see, this thing are primarily network. It's just for networks, really. But they're powerful enough to run neural network, and you do not need specialized hardware. As in, they don't have specialized hardware that I know of. So as a result, you can use this. You can use this on the phone without specialized hardware, right? And that's cool. So you can run it on a Raspberry Pi. I mean, Raspberry Pi is way ahead because they do have accelerator on it, but you're talking about cheap hardware, right? You do not need a 3,000 ringgit phone. You don't need a 3,000 ringgit phone, which is why I'm excited about TinyML, and which is why I recommend this book while the book is still relevant. It's not just about microcontrollers to run neural network, but because microcontroller can run neural network, the same technology can be run on your can run on your phone. H-Impulse does that. So yeah, TinyML book, highly recommended. I should talk more about this, interestingly. And final one is, Dune. I recommend Dune. Dune open my mind in the way that they use a very weird language, right? Okay. It's full of speculation. Dune is nothing but if not speculative. So there were things that Dunes do can break laws of physics. Okay, and the language they use,
the way they do the traveling is different. It's another system.
yeah, and the language they use are not necessarily explained. So it's just a background that you just accept that it's there. Why does okay, so why Paul is called Muad'Dib is because of a rat, and the explanation for desert rat is literally one paragraph. They spend so much time building the world. It's just that. But the only thing I would say is, if you want to read Dune but you do not want to commit to the series, I suggest that you can stop at book 1, to be honest, because it can end on book 1. Starting from book 2 is the author wanting to continue the story, but book 2 is to build book 3. Book 3 ends with a potential for book 4. Book 4 is their own thing. Then book 5, book 6, I didn't read yet, but book 5, book 6 is their own story on further in the future. It get really weird. So Dune the book is very trippy.
Yeah. And then it ends on a cliffhanger on book 6, and then
Yeah.
Frank Herbert died, and then don't read the
Yeah.
rest because it's horrible.
Yeah.
Unlike,
So,
unlike
to be
Wheel of
hon-
Time. Unlike Wheel of Time.
Yeah, so I suggest that you want to save time, stick with book 1. You want to explore a bit further, book 3. I would, to be honest, I'm not willing to commit the time
There are
anymore.
a few series that I only stop at book 1. Actually,
Yeah,
sometimes it's good to stop at its very best.
yes.
Mm.
So I think that's about it, to be honest. That's about, I mean, I have, as I say, there's a lot of books that I do like.
I have one more to
Yeah.
share.
I'm going to
And
stop my this.
Since we're talking about books, this is ending in what do you call this? In 4 days.
Okay.
Code Like a Pro by Manning. It's 18
Okay,
US
so-
dollars for all of these things.
I recommend.
bad.
I recommend unit testing. Go up. Tristan, can you go up? Unit testing. Can you find the book on unit testing? There's a book on unit testing.
This
Yeah,
one.
this one.
What
This
unit
one-
testing that you can test in production?
Okay, so this book I highly recommend this because okay, so first
This is the
caveat.
old version though. This is the old version in C#.
Yeah. No, actually, this is the latest production version,
The latest one is
the-
third, which is in JavaScript.
but it's a meme. It's not finished yet, and it
Yeah.
stopped being updated for a while. But okay, despite that, this is the caveat. it's in C#, but it gives all the right information, teach all the right thing. Unfortunately, if you have this book, it means that you have to translate the concept yourself. This is the problem, but generally the concept is applicable across language. This is where I discovered that the Python unit test library and mock library do not implement this correctly. We mix mock and stub, for example, for various reasons. I think for practical reason mostly. But yeah, I recommend this book for the practice, but unfortunately you have to translate that yourself.
Yep.
So I recommend
So
this.
we have these practices.
Okay,
in
I glanced
Python.
through.
There
I
are
glanced through
some
seriously good
bundles
software.
actually. I'm actually looking at the link right now because I didn't see it. Like there are a few good bundles.
Yep.
Not just
Okay.
the programming one.
I glanced through seriously good software. Also in the bundle. That
And-
one covers the right thing on the
I
title.
know,
I
just
can only say
share
that.
that screen again because I can't say it. Like the humble bundles like the bundles they are offering right now.
All of the bundles that they're offering right
Yeah.
now. This one, books.
Yep.
So they have the
Yeah,
hacking
hacking.
books,
Yeah,
Pathfinder
if
books,
you're into
your
TRPG
GM stuff.
and Monogatari
Uh,
series.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm a fanboy.
light novels by
Yeah,
Nisio
light
Isin.
novels.
Yep,
And
creating
cookbooks,
comics.
programming.
Programmer advice that rocks your world.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Cyberpunk
this is. I haven't seen.
It's also an RPG.
Yeah.
RPG, Code Like a
Yeah.
Pro, the one that we showed.
Yeah.
And Eat, Drink, and Be Merry. I think these are recipe books or something. Yep.
Yeah, recipe books,
Yeah,
yes.
recipe.
Good
Yep.
bundle
Uh,
and very giftable. Humble
is
bundle
also
is
good, I
very
think, yeah.
giftable.
It's
Yeah.
no DRM.
Yeah. So it's very giftable as a thing, so you can buy it and give it to your friend. I hope they don't call you stingy, but yes, it's very giftable as a bundle. I recommend that you get some of this and give it to your friend to increase their skill. So with that said, next week is Christmas Eve. Well, Christmas Eve is on a Friday actually. So I hope that you can actually get something for if not for your friend, for your family, then for yourself. So with that said, yeah. Merry
Why is really
Christmas.
force us to buy something?
Well, you do not need to buy stuff. You can also give the gift of knowledge by teaching your friend to do things, right? Or family to do
Yeah,
things.
Chilung is asking why you have to buy them. You can just pirate them or download them from somewhere.
No, don't. I'm not saying that.
Yeah. Okay, there is other things
You
that you
should
can
buy-
do for your
You should buy the Monogatari series.
yeah. So with that said, should I say? Is it too early to say Merry Christmas, or we should say it now? So Merry Christmas. So if you're not getting for yourself, reward yourself that you survived this year. End of the year. Yes, you might not work much. I don't actually work that much.
What
but
much? I work-
survive.
I want hard.
Yeah, you actually work hard, unlike me. I recommend. Well, I want to pretend that I actually work hard. So yeah. So with that said, thanks for indulging us. I will actually create the show note this time. So yeah. With that said, shall we say goodbye?
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
See you
Thanks
guys
for
next week.
listening.
See you next week.
Yes.
We're having a
Yes.
show next week, right?
Yeah.
I hope maybe.
The 23rd of December.
Yes. Well, maybe we'll
Okay.
cover things that we like that you can't buy.